So when we first had the idea of buying a narrowboat to live aboard, one idea that really appealed to us was being able to travel as much of the network as possible. We're on our 4th waterway. We did the River Wey, we did the Basingstoke, we did a section of the Thames, and now we're on the Kennet and Avon. And we've had the boat for 2 months, so it feels like we're moving really fast and things are changing. And before we kind of forget what each waterway was like, we had the idea of doing like a bit of a tongue-in-cheek review of each waterway that we go on. In the future, we won't leave it 2 months, we'll do it straight away. But we've got 3 to catch up on at the moment. And it was just really to remind ourselves of what we liked about each waterway, what we found, how easy they were. And we thought like other people might find them quite useful as well, if they are thinking about hiring a boat for a holiday or something like that.
So they're not going to be particularly comprehensive, that's for the guidebooks and stuff, but we're going to try and do kind of a quick little overview
of our findings. And we wanted to have them like uniform, so each review had the same structure. So we came up with a
little acronym based on the word review. So we're going to start with R, which is the route, the regulations, licensing, personnel, things like that. The Wey And Godalming, it's 19.5 miles long, runs from Weybridge all the way down to Godalming.
Weybridge on the Thames, and then there's nothing at Godalming, you have to come back.
Yeah, it's a dead end. There's effectively 2 actual waterways, but they're all managed by the same group, which is the National Trust. You do have to pay for a license through them when you come off of the Thames, which is how you will probably come onto it. I mean, we were a little bit odd. We came into it at Pyrford Marina because that's where we got our boat. And they will sell you a license if you want to get one there. So if you happen to start there, it's a good place to be.
So we paid £80 for a 7-day license, which felt a bit expensive, to be honest.
Yeah, it was expensive.
And you can get a 21-day license for £100, which is much better value.
There's a 3-day license. There's a 7-day license, and there's a 21-day license. For some reason, there's nothing in the middle.
And 7 days is enough to do it. We didn't feel too rushed. I mean, we were doing lots of things on the boat at the same time because it was like our first cruise. But 7 days is plenty of time to get all the way to Godalming and back again.
And 21 would probably give you lots of time.
So the only personnel we met was at the Thames Lock. And that was when we left the River Wey, and it was when we'd actually come off the Basingstoke, because the Basingstoke comes off the Wey. So the day we left the Basingstoke, we travelled the same day all the way to the Thames. And because our 7-day Wey licence was obviously from weeks before, we needed a transit licence, which was £7.50. So that got us from the Basingstoke to the Thames. And the guy at the lock was really nice. So the next
letter
is E.
E for ease of navigation.
So we're talking about locks, bridges, and water and currents. So when you buy your license for the River Wey, you're supposed to get this booklet, which is information for boaters. It's also available online, so I'll link it below. We actually found this really, really helpful.
Yeah, it prepares you for every one of the locks you're going through, so you can read ahead and know what the sort of obstructions are, water levels,
what the water flows like,
if there's special concerns like
a bend or
really sharp bends or low bridges, things like that.
It just basically talks you through each lock.
Yeah,
and it shows you which side the lock's landing's on and that kind of thing. So
above Pyrford, it's a canal, a man-made section that goes all the way up to the Thames. It's the only section of true canal. And
then the river section, there's lots of weirs and fast-flowing water and currents. I mean, it's not scary, but it's...
No, but there are lots of bends and sort of forks where there's not a lot of signage, so you really do want to have an idea ahead of time which direction you're supposed to be going in.
Quite often it'd be like a last minute, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
The locks themselves, there's 16 locks in total on the way.
Including 2 floodgates, right? So the 2 floodgates are not normal. If they're in operation, you're not. They're just doors that are held wide open, and they are used to control flood flow for the river. So you basically, you just kind of go through those. So there's sort of 14 operable locks you have to worry about going up and down. It is a little bit different because they use their own lock key, windlass. It is only for the Wey,
as far as I know,
and the Godalming. The nice thing is they'll rent you one of these, and you have to bring it back on your way out of the Thames lock, or you can buy one.
Yeah, the other thing about the locks is you're supposed to leave the gates open as you exit the lock, which is actually quite nice that you don't have to shut them. But then when you arrive at a lock that's set against you, there's more work because you have to shut the gates first.
Which happens fairly often.
If you open the paddles fully, or even a third, the water comes in really, really fast.
In an absolute torrent. So they require you, or well, they sort of very, very strongly recommend that you tie up at both ends. And you really should. We did the first couple of locks with just the center line, thinking, we sort of knew our way because of our training and everything, and we quickly found out that the boat will just shoot wherever it feels like because the water's coming at you as a wall.
And then there was one low bridge it's down towards, I think it was on the Godalming part.
Yeah. It's the Broadford
Bridge.
Yeah.
And it's 6'4" air clearance. And our air draft's 6 foot. And even so, we were a little bit anxious going underneath. But
at the time we were 6 foot plus an antenna.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's not like a difficult approach or anything. But at the time we could go really quite slowly.
But it's like, are we going to have to stop and reverse?
Yeah, and there's kind of a depth gauge that's on both sides. And we got there and it's like, this is an undecipherable thing. I don't even know what it means.
Because there's red at the bottom. And
it's like, does that mean the water's too low, or does that mean I'm too low? Like, it just...
So it's just something to be aware of if you've got lots of roof boxes or...
Yeah, take them off.
So the next one is views and scenery.
Yeah, V.
V for views and scenery. So it's in leafy Surrey, and it pretty much feels like you're in countryside the whole way. Lots of open fields and greenery and
cows. There's the ruins of a beautiful old abbey at one point. There's
a big country house called
lovely
Sutton Place.
Yeah, Sutton Place is there.
And it changes. Like there's some where you're in a kind of under a canopy, and there's some where it's really open. It's a nice variety. Pretty rural, apart from where the Basingstoke leaves the Wey. And right there, you've also got the M25 going overhead, so it's kind of not very pleasant and dark and really noisy.
Really incredibly noisy.
You couldn't moor along that section.
It's funny, like there really is kind of 4 sections. You've got from the Thames to basically the M25, where you've got all these beautiful old houses, these huge
big mansions,
gorgeous mansions at the waterside and everything. There was these nice boats and just sort of pretty well kept properties and things. Then you transition as you get closer to the sort of area around where the Basingstoke turn is, where you pass under the M25. There's a lot of industrial kind of stuff. There's graffiti.
There's the railway.
The railway bridge itself. And then there's this long stretch down to Pierford where it's just this corridor of trees and everything.
And it's straight.
And then you join, after Pierford, it's like you've got a little bit of curving, you've got the floodlocks, and then boom, you're on river. And the river is plains and trees that are a little bit less frequent, and some nice shaded areas, and then wide sections of water, and then narrow sections of water. And it's just really quite beautiful. Then you've got Guildford. You're in the middle of a large town, and you're going through an area that feels like kind of reclaimed industrial. And then down towards Godalming, it's back to kind of plants and trees and nice little river area.
So that moves us on to I, which is interesting points.
Yeah, so...
Just referring to the notes.
Yeah, the man-made portion down to Pierford is actually the oldest, I believe the oldest navigable canal in the whole system. It was made in 1653.
Which is like 100 years before like the Golden Canal Age.
Yeah, it was like the first major canal ever constructed. And then it combines up with the Godalming navigation. And then there was also a navigation from just north of Godalming that ran all the way down to the coast called the ARUN. This was the Wey and ARUN, and it lets you go all the way to the sea.
Which would be amazing. And apparently there is like a committee or a group like looking at the restoration.
Yeah, and they're trying to get it opened up again, and they are working on it. I saw something on a sign there that they're trying to.
But that would be amazing, because at the moment Godalming is the most southerly point on the network. So to actually extend down to like Littlehampton, it's not the ocean, it's the English Channel. But.
Well, the English Channel. Turns out you pass through some strange little places. There was one place that is actually called Gunlock, where there was apparently like a foundry that made cannons and weapons for the king and stuff. And that was one of the uses of the canal, was to move cannonballs up the canal. So it was quite an interesting place. Yeah. And then once you get down to Godalming, there's also sort of a strange little point, which is that there is a horse-drawn day boat, like a tour boat that moves back and forth. Unfortunately, when we arrived, it wasn't there.
No, I think we were there in the morning, and I don't think on that day the trip started till 2. But there's a stable right on the wharf, and the boat was there. But that would have been really cool to see.
It would have been really neat. There's like a separate navigation rule for when the horse is coming. So it's like you're supposed to pass on the right, unless there's a horse, then pass on the left. That was pretty funny. So E is ease of access. Like the facilities that are on the canal?
Yeah, so mooring, you can moor anywhere along the towpath, but in reality you can't, because it's really shallow.
Yeah, there's quite a few places where it looks inviting, but it's not.
Also, you can only, like officially, according to our license, you can only moor for 24 hours at a time. So I mean, that's another reason for like if you had the 21-day license, like I don't know how you'd manage that. For 7 days it was perfect. We were doing a nice amount of travelling each day and getting to a really nice kind of different area.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't stop for more than 24 hours. So
yeah, but like mooring up in Guildford wasn't too difficult. We found a couple of places where we didn't stay overnight, but we found quite a few places where it was easy to pull up, and we could have stayed overnight without any trouble.
Mm-hmm. In Guildford, there's a place called Dune Wharf, which is where the kind of National Trust administrates the canal from. You can moor there, but it was busy when we went through, and they would have moved some like day hire boats for us to get on, but we decided to carry on, and we moored just the other side of Guildford, but it was still kind of walking distance to Guildford. Mm-hmm. And at Dune Wharf, you said there was a museum and a little cafe, so it's probably quite a nice place to stop at. So, there aren't any residential moorings anywhere on the way.
Yeah.
There's non-residential moorings at the marina,
Pierford,
and there's also some canal side moorings, private moorings, just outside Pierford, and also down near.
There's some near the ARUN turnoff.
Yeah, and some near Godalming.
Some near Godalming, up above the. What's it called? Farncombe Boathouse. If you're trying to live on the canal,
you can't.
You kind of out of luck on the way.
Mm-hmm. Facilities?
Facility-wise, the rest of the facilities, garbage was not a problem. There were not a lot of sort of official waste facilities.
This guidebook, this information for boaters, does actually list where the official facilities are. Yeah, so refuge, there's Pierford Marina and the Anchor Pub,
which are side by side,
right next door to each other. Yeah. There's Dune Wharf and Godalming Wharf.
Godalming.
Oh, there was recycling at Pierford.
There was recycling at Pierford.
And then fuel, you've got Pierford Marina, and you've also got Farncombe Boathouse, which is
basically it.
Right? Yeah. And also when we passed Farncombe Boathouse, it was just covered in boats, so I'm not sure how you could have stopped there anyway. I mean, this book shows where all the shops are as well, which is really useful, and it says like 20-minute walk to a village, short walk to village shops, local Sainsbury's 10 minutes walk away. So this is really, really useful. There's a massive Sainsbury's at Godalming,
literally
off the wharf,
30 feet off the wharf.
And then if it's like retail kind of clothes shopping, you've got Guildford,
where there's everything. It's a bit bizarre in Guildford because you come off of where we actually moored up was like a field full of cows, and you turn and you walk 150 feet and you get this beautiful cobblestone road, and it's just kind of nice, you know, a few newer buildings and everything, but everything feels kind of like you could have been there in the Victorian days sort of thing. You turn around a corner, walk past this beautiful old church where there was a market going on, left-hand turn, shopping hell. just like...
Yeah, but people like that.
Yeah, but it's like just, you know, glass-walled shops and brands. If you like that, it's available right there. It's not far from the canal
If
at all.
you're trying to be a minimalist.
Yeah, it's a little shocking.
But, you know, it might be useful.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to start talking about, or people are going to be pissed, is pubs.
Oh yeah, we don't really go to pubs. Michael's learnt that like how British culture is like revolves around pubs, because you know, whenever we moor up somewhere, like the next boat will go, oh, there's a really nice pub over there. Or
Yeah. So by all accounts, there's a bunch of really nice pubs all the way down the way. I'm a teetotaling vegetarian.
It's very boring.
It's very boring.
Because we can review how the pubs look from the outside.
Yes.
And how close they are.
Yeah. The pubs are close. They look good.
And then the last letter, W, water, waste and wee.
Water, waste and wee.
At the time we still had our pump out. So for pump out, you've got Pierford Marina, and it was £10 to do it there.
Yep. The pump out and the L Sandpoint are sort of side by side.
Mm-hmm.
They're all related to the service pontoon, where you also get drinking water and you also get diesel if you need it. So it's fairly busy, and you've got to sort of wait necessarily to get on if there's any traffic going on in the marina. But once you're there, it's all clean, it's simple. And there is one, I believe, at Farncombe Boathouse. Yep, that's the other one. Apparently by arrangement only.
There's quite a few water points.
There's one at Godalming. There's
Here we go. There's one at Thames Lock, Pierford Marina, Pierford Lock.
The Cartbridge Wharf, Stoke Lock, Guildford Waterside Centre, Daptoon Wharf.
Farncombe Boathouse and Godalming. So there's loads of places.
There's loads of places to get water.
Oh yeah, there was a couple in the lock filling up their water tank, and they could have just been on the lock landing and doing it, but they decided to do it when they were in the lock. So
yeah, while they were going up the lock. So
that was quite funny.
They're filling up water while right. Well, fair enough.
But we found our tank lasts us 10 days anyway, so
yeah, it wasn't the biggest problem.
Yeah, we didn't have any need for the Elson at the time, but there are Elson points at Pierford Marina, Pierford Lock, right next to each other, Daptoon Wharf and Godalming.
So they're available if you need them. And
that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So yeah, we really enjoyed the Wey. I guess one thing we haven't mentioned is how quiet it was. We didn't have anything at the time to compare it to, but especially on the weekdays there was no traffic at all. No,
it was pretty quiet.
At the weekends there was a few more boats, and there was lots of little kayaks and canoes and...
Right, so that's the review.
Hope it was useful.
Yeah, hope it was useful. Sorry about the rain. If you can hear that, we've been listening to it all day.
So if there's anything we've missed out of the review, let us know and we can put it in the next one.
The next one will be the Basingstoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We bought
for everybody had a nice little device he used to pull doors closed. Gates, damn it, all the hell. Did it again. Okay. Kind of helpful. Good weapon if you need one.
Non-resident. And you look like an alcoholic meat eater.
I look like an alcoholic meat eater. I look. Oh, and we forgot the M25 as well.
What was that supposed to be in?
Views. Yeah. Man.
So
pretty. It's like the biggest freeway, and it's so huge. Motorway. Biggest motorway, and it's so large. It's the sort of thing that in Los Angeles we worry about collapsing.